Health and Safety Assignment 2, the key personnel. Basically, the scenario is you work for a company providing health and safety training and information to businesses. You've been asked to make some resources which will be used in training sessions. Basically, all this is about, the assignment is about, is basically what role do basically the key people involved in health and safety, what role do they play? So basically, what job do they do? And basically how does it contribute, and that's basically all we're asking you to do in this assignment, is to describe that and actually say what is their place within health and safety. So the first part is to produce a leaflet explaining the roles and responsibility for health and safety of key personnel at a business of your choice. Make reference to the roles and responsibilities outlined in the unit content below. In terms of the key personnel, you can find that on the help sheet that was given to you earlier on. And in terms of actually looking at their responsibilities, it's worth looking at that help sheet and also the textbook pages, which are also referenced in that help sheet. But all you need to do here is to describe what they do. So you just need to identify what they are. So basically, facilities manager, HR director, a department head, what role do they play? Those are some of them, but it could be a whole different range of people. But you just need to think, what roles do they play? Individual employees' obligations and responsibilities. First aiders, fire marshals, head counts, things like that. So basically, what do they, what do they do? What is their role and their responsibility for health and safety? What do they do? So basically, how do they contribute? So basically, accountability, the roles of the parties. So do they have things like, for example, do they help? So for example, at the college you have a trade union representative who goes around doing the health and safety audit with the health and safety officer for a site. They will highlight problems and faults. And their responsibility is to highlight what issues there are, and the health and safety person can go off and sort them out. But basically, it's looking in terms of accountability. It's basically what are they responsible, but also what they're accountable for. So, for example, the head of department will be accountable for the health and safety of his staff within that department. And they'd also be responsible for the rooms and the safety of students within that section. How's it implemented? So stuff like risk assessments, not just that, but also physically implemented. And also, how do they monitor it? Do they check it regularly? Do they check it do they react to certain conditions, which they do in the college? So, for example, if I leave rubbish out, which needs to be thrown away after the phone estates, and get them to clear it up, because otherwise it's a health and safety issue. Also, identifying any and documenting any improvements. Now, that could be done through risk assessment, but could also be done by general audits. But a risk assessment would be a good, solid audit of a room. Any upgrading and compliance, so basically, are they compliant to the law which is there? So, for example, disabled access within a college would be one of them, but it's certain people's roles, so it might be like a disability advisor and that, to sort that out. And also, they might be given a budget allocation to sort something out. So, for example, human resources will have a small budget for computer use. So for example, I have a mouse pad with a rest for my wrist. It's HR's responsibility to give me that, because that can cause me problems and strains. It's also their responsibility to train me. That costs money. Basically, what you need to do is just describe what their role is, and that is the basic point. Is just describe what their role is and their responsibility and what they're accountable for. Okay, so I kind of thought of the college almost like a beehive. So these are different roles. These aren't exclusive roles. There are far more. There is a head of department. There is a head of HR. But the whole point is just to give you a basic overview of what those roles do and the responsibilities associated with those roles in terms of health and safety. All you need to do is describe those roles. You don't need to actually explain the overall point of them. So M1, you just produce a detailed spider diagram considering of at least 6 key personnel in the unit content. This should include an analysis of their role, assessing if how their roles and responsibilities allow the organisation to meet the requirements of health and safety legislation. So basically you've got the health and safety legislation which was given to you, and basically you need to analyse their roles and assessing if their roles and responsibilities allow them to meet the organisation's requirements of health and safety. Now what I would say is the difference between describing and analysing in this sense is this. Basically you've got those roles, but basically how do they contribute to health and safety within the college and also the college's own legal obligations. So it's looking more holistically. So for example, a fire marshal is going to look basically his corridor and how safe his corridor is, because that could be someone like me, who I am, a fire marshal. I have to check the corridor and make sure that all the rooms are clear, and then I pass on my responsibility to someone else. But that is a legal obligation that you have fire marshals within a building, within an organisation, to help contribute to health and safety within the whole college environment. Likewise, it's up to different lecturers to make sure they keep their areas clean, and that helps contribute to health and safety. Also, reminding students not to lean back on their chairs or something as simple as that, again, helps to contribute and reinforce health and safety. HR might do it through training. Equally, there's loads of different ways that there's obligations and legal obligations that the college have to abide by. And I think that's what you really need to bring out, is that that's health and that's their job role, but how does it help contribute to the whole environment for health and safety? Thanks.